everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Rafi, and usually we talk about fragrances here, and I've been doing a series called Fragrances of the 2000s, of the decade the 2000s, starting at the year 2000 and going on. This is the second last episode of this particular series. It is about the year 2008, and I'm going to go through a few of the fragrances that are in my collection from that year and some stories about them, I guess, and probably set the scene to start off with about the year 2008.
I'm sold 3008, you sold 2000.
It was a very transformative year for me personally, where I stopped being a full-time jackass, and I decided to be a part-time jackass instead. And decided to be a normal person and see if I could give that a go. But around the world, there was a lot of very, very transformative things happening. And one of the things that I guess you can't ignore is the global financial crisis that sort of happened in 2008. And some might say it actually started off in 2007, but really the impacts were felt in the year 2008. And of course, it was very devastating for a lot of countries and a lot of people around the world, with the almost like the collapse of almost all of the financial institutions all around the world, one by one, sort of, teetering on the edge of collapse.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
And here in Australia, nothing happened. Nothing happened because, our politicians are quite a lot better at being corrupt than anybody else. I don't know, I joke. But it really wasn't felt as bad as some other countries around the world. We really got a real soft landing. Some people might credit that to really good financial management. Who am I to say that it was or it wasn't? But reality of the matter is we really didn't feel much here. Anyway, something else that happened in the year 2008, which was a pretty big deal, was the Olympics. Why was it a big deal? Because it was in China. It was in Beijing. They had the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, and it was fantastic. It went off without a hitch, I think. There was maybe a few hitches on the way there. Of course, if you do recall the Olympic torch relays, there was protests going on because of human rights violations and things like that. But then again, if you look behind the veil of any nation state, you're pretty much sure to find some kind of human rights abuse or human rights violations. It just, I guess, depends on how good your marketing is. Another big deal apparently was that the US elections and President Obama was voted into office in 2008. That was something else that happened in 2008, and that was a pretty big deal. He was the first black guy to be the president of the United States. I really liked the way that he talked. Yes, we can, and the whole hand gesture things that all the politicians do. It's like, they do one of these and to open up their hands to say that, look, I'm open and honest. And they also do, I'm pretty sure they all go through sort of hand gesture training, because they all do the same thing, It's like this, and this means I'm assertive, but I'm non-threatening, that kind of stuff. And they don't point, pointing is bad and open hands is good, and don't fold your arms and stand like this. It's all body language sort of techniques and tips and tricks to play on your limbic system. That's what it is. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Obama. That's right. It was a big deal because he was the first black president of the United States. Oh, and there was a war apparently, and I didn't know this because I must have not been paying attention, or it wasn't in the news at all. Not that I actually listen to the news very much, and that's probably why I'm so smiley. There was a war, and I don't know if you could call it a war. It was basically one country attacking another country, unprovoked. I think it was unprovoked, because Russia invaded Georgia. And there was a brief sort of war or skirmish or something like that between them. Yeah, funny that, Russia attacking a neighboring small country. Yeah. In science news, there was the Large Hadron Collider. Now I've got to read this off the thing. because the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator, the Large Hadron Collider, was inaugurated in Switzerland, aiming to advance scientific knowledge about the universe. I find that funny, it was in Switzerland. It's like this big round sort of contraption where they sort of speed things up and try and make things crash into each other, and they try to observe what happens when that occurs, which makes sense because it's in Switzerland. They're sort of masters of like watchmaking, and they like making things go around. But I wonder, being that it's Switzerland and they're very neutral, which direction they would push the particles. It's a terrible joke. Anyway, moving on. There was other things that happened in other parts of the world. Zimbabwe had the famous hyperinflation that many people, I don't know if many people know about it now, but they had some crazy hyperinflation where their dollar basically, they started printing money. They started printing money to pay off all of their debts. And of course, what happens when you do that is you get hyperinflation and your money is worthless. And you have like people who, I think I was reading an article back then where some lady was like, well, I'm a nurse and it actually cost me twice as much to catch the bus to go to work as I do working for an entire day. So there's no point me going to work. So imagine like nurses not going to work because it's actually financially more beneficial for them just to stay at home and sit down on a chair or a couch, whatever. And I do have one of my friends actually purchased a 1 trillion Zimbabwean dollar note, and he purchased it for $13. That's how bad it got with the hyperinflation there. But moving along to fragrance news now, and let's get into it because we've got some crackers in this year actually in my collection. I didn't notice that some of these were from 2008, so there you go. I'm going to also cheat a little bit because it's my channel, it's my video. I can cheat if I want to. So I'm going to start off with one that I'm on my second bottle of. And the reason for that is because I was just standing there and I saw it and it was $7 or something for a bottle. And I knew that it wasn't going to be good. But I thought, look, I'll just grab it anyway. And the one I'm talking about is called Ikon by Zirh or Zirh. It is not supposed to be a take on a pronoun. It is the name of the company, all right? It's Zirh Ikon. This is a smaller bottle. I used to have a larger bottle of this, and I do remember it being okay. Like, I did have it back in 2010, I think I went through a bottle of this, and back in 2019, I bought another one. So this is the bottle itself. It does actually come with a metallic, not a metallic, but a magnetic cap. And I'm holding my other hand underneath it, not because I'm trying to do a magic trick, but it's because it's really, you can't trust this magnetic cap. Yeah, it's okay, but like it's nothing special, and it's rightly so at $7. And another thing I'm going to add to this in the second, and I didn't know why I didn't sort of product manage this series of videos a little bit better and actually do this, but I think it's kind of fun to actually read what other people are saying about this particular fragrance, because I remember it. I remember buying this and wearing this because it had like a little bit of a smoky element to it. It was like nice lavender, a little bit of citruses, but it was like kind of creamy, but then it got dark and it had this sort of base of smokiness. And I thought, I enjoyed my first bottle of it. I don't wear this, and I think I've sprayed it on my skin once and it wasn't a full wearing, but I want to know what other people are saying about this. I'm going to go to our favorite review website, and I'm not being sponsored by Fragrantica, but I'm going to read some of the reviews, and the first review that's currently there, and let's read that one. It says, "This is by far one of the best underrated fragrances ever created. You will not be disappointed if you can get your hands on it. I found it at a blah 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 about 10 years ago that was going out of business, and man, am I glad I did. This fragrance is a masterpiece. It's a rare jewel in an unfathomable mine." I don't know if this is being legit, but anyway, "a diamond in a haystack, glory within turmoil. You will not be sorry. There is nothing quite like it. I love it, and I use it sparingly because I don't know if I can ever find it again if you can, get it now. Wow. That's gotta be trolling. I do think it's gotta be trolling, because if I look at the next review, it starts off with, I think the bottle I got is going off. I don't think I want to read the rest of that opinion. If the bottle is going off, do not write a review unless that's how it smells. The third review here says, absolutely disgusting. I was hoping it would at least be passable, but it's gross. It smells like old furniture that's been pissed on, cigarette butts and rotten spices. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. It's just that it's nothing unique. It doesn't bring anything unique. And maybe in 2008, it had a place, but in 2023, it does not have a place. Horrible scent. It's like a dry down of an expired perfume, and it does not even last for half an hour on me. And I have to say that is true, because it doesn't last very long at all. The older one did. It had a good maybe 5-6 hours. This one, when I sprayed it on skin that day, and not that I was disappointed that it like left me in like an hour or so, but it did. It didn't last very long at all. So I guess it has been maybe watered down and cheapened, because, you know, you can't expect to make a profit selling this for $7. Anyway, that's Zirh Ikon. The next one that we're going to do is my cheat one, because I forgot to put it in my 2007 video. So here it is in 2008. Some might actually say this did come out in 2008. It might be because it was released in your country in 2008. That's racist! And it certainly was released, I think, in 2008 in Australia, but you might have, the actual release date is 2007. The one I'm talking about is Coromandel by Chanel from their Les Exclusives line. And I think quite a few of the Les Exclusives got released in 2007. And this is the eau de toilette. It's not the eau de parfum. So this got discontinued. A lot of them that were eau de toilettes got discontinued and reformulated as eau de parfums, re-released as eau de parfum concentrations in 2016. From memory, they were still selling the eau de toilettes in 2013 at the Chanel store. So if you can see there, it kind of should say that it's an eau de toilette. You could maybe read it, maybe. Not sure. Anyway, love it, absolutely. I've talked about this fragrance. I've even done like a unicorns sort of video of this particular fragrance. It is the patchouli and benzo and white chocolate sort of thing that happens here, with a lot of things on the periphery which sort of amp it up. All right, let's read some of the reviews here. Let's see what it says. Jacques Polge, masterpiece. Great. Performance is a bit tada. Tada? The fuck does that mean? Performance. This is one of the best performing eau de toilettes I've got. Like, you wear this, it's on you for like a good 16 to 17 hours, on clothes the next day, which by the way, longevity, that much longevity, it can't be a good thing. Imagine something that you spray on your skin and has like 24-hour longevity. How can that be good for your skin? That's probably clogging up pores and things like that. That can't be great if it's affixing itself to your skin, that voraciously. Next review. All my life, I've never felt in more harmony than with this perfume. I still wear it today, and its staying power and sillage is excellent. A masterpiece. Yes, fantastic. Tahitian vanilla. Tahitian vanilla. Never smelled anything as beautiful on this in my entire life. Just stunning on every level, masterpiece. And I think it's true. I'm one of those people who think it is a masterpiece, and this is a 200ml bottle, so it's seen some wear. Let's go to the next one in the list of fragrances. So this next one is a little bit controversial because it's a Guerlain. It's the first Guerlain that was released, and it was not perfumed by someone with the last name of Guerlain. It was Jean-Paul Guerlain, and it was Amy Guerlain, and it was Jacques Guerlain or something like that the whole time. And they let a guy called Thierry Wasser perfume or put together this one as the main perfumer. And of course, there's a credit to someone else called Sylvain Delacourt, who also, I guess, perfumed this fragrance. This fragrance is called Guerlain Homme. It's a men's release. It came out, of course, in 2008. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in this video. And this is the small 30 ml, 40 ml, 30 ml bottle, which is cool because it's got this whole animal motif. And the reason it's got an animal motif is because of the commercial, the advertising for it, because there's a Tarzan. He is sipping water from a lake or something, or a small puddle or a small body of water amongst other animals in the jungle. And because a man is an animal, I think that's what it was. And this is a representative of a man, of Guerlain's man. That's what it was. Guerlain Homme. Love it. The bigger bottle looks like this. Had a metal plaque on the top. And the metal plaque was designed by, I think, Pininfarina. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I've got this. I've got the incorrect design house. But Pininfarina, famous for designing Ferraris. I think they do like, they're an Italian automotive design house, and they do Ferraris. And they also had a Pininfarina version of this, which had like a red bottle. I think it came in a small bottle and it was red. Something like that. I don't have that one. I don't know if it's any different or anything like that, but these are exactly the same, just small, different bottle sizes. Great fragrance. I have to say, underrated, great fragrance. Still available as an eau de parfum. This is the eau de toilette. These are the eau de toilettes, is the original versions of them. And you've got things like mojito, you've got mint, you've got lime. You know, it's a real summery kind of vibe, but there's sort of like this powdery element over the top of it. So it's sheer in that it's very French and it's very Guerlain. It's actually a good Guerlain. It's a very good fragrance. There's flankers to this as well. There was Guerlain Homme Low. There's Low Boisé as well. And there was Intense, which is coming in the next video because that was released in 2009. But I don't have the Low. And the one I want the most is the Guerlain Low, mainly because it's got a frosted bottle, and I'm a sucker for frosted bottles, but it is apparently the pick of the bunch. Those have been discontinued. So looking at the reviews here, someone says, this is a really underrated scent. It's a shame that it was discontinued. It is not discontinued. You can still purchase the eau de parfum. You just can't get it in eau de toilette concentration, and you have to get it in the stock standard Guerlain bottles, those square ones. They've lost all of their character and personality because that's what companies are doing now. They're just conforming. It's all about brand recognition. Don't give people anything different because, hey, that's how people recognize you. Because these days we're just too busy to take a second look at something. We're too busy, we're being too limbically hijacked. I like that phrase. We're being too limbically hijacked by banal sort of content coming at us constantly and barraging our primitive brains that we do not have I don't want to say we don't have the capability. We do have the capability. We don't have we're not time rich enough to actually think, what is that? That's interesting. Do I want to take a second look at that? Do I want to delve into that thing a little bit more? Oh no, I don't, because I don't have time. Swipe. It's a shame, but it's just the way things are. And that's what's happened to Guerlain Homme. Lord, that smells so nice. Oh my God, I forgot how much I used to love this in the summertime. I drenched myself with this. I drenched my linen shirt with this. Perfect. Summertime linen shirt, a few bangles on the wrist, which I'm not wearing any, but a few things on, like a nice sort of get up, out and about. Yeah, really good one. So we've gone, okay, let me clean up this bottle because If I don't clean up this bottle, you're going to think that I'm a really messy guy. I'm not a messy guy. It's just that this bottle is a complete fingerprint magnet, and you will see why. Okay, here we go. It is by Kenzo. It is called Power, and there's a sort of like a picture of a flower on there. I don't know if you can make that out, but there is a flower on there. And some say it's actually supposed to be called Flower Power, but they got the thing wrong. But Power, Kenzo's Power, 2008. Now, Coromandel was perfumed by Jacques Polge, legend, Chanel legend as well. But this one was perfumed by Olivier Polge. Are they related? Yes, I think that's his son, right? So this is the other Master Junior. God damn, it smells like a Chanel. That's what it does. It smells like a Chanel almost. What does this smell like? It's a men's fragrance, apparently, but it smells like a bouquet of flowers. It's a bouquet of flowers that have been soaked in flat Coca-Cola. Yes, and flat because you poured Coca-Cola into a glass of ice on a hot day, it melted and it got flat, so it got diluted by water, it got flat, and then you poured that into a basket full of flowers and you let it sort of just mesh together, just sort of mesh together. That's this. This is actually really good, but longevity, very bad. However, the smell, very good. If anyone can smell you, they will say, you smell very good. You smell very excellent. Let's hear what other people are saying. I mean, it's not the most masculine thing in the world in terms of traditional sort of pointers or characteristics of masculinity, but it's discontinued, I think. And anyway, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what some people are saying about this. They're saying, you don't need balls to wear this. It is powdery, yes, a bit, but not so feminine and almost not flowery at all. I beg to differ, you person who doesn't know the meaning of the middle note of flowers. The middle note is just basically flowers. How could it not? It's like the main sort of thing that you're going to smell like 10 minutes after you wear it. You smell it off the cap. It's all florals. Yeah, I don't know why they called it power either. It's not really powerful. It doesn't overpower you or anyone else. Maybe it gives you a feeling of power over it. Flower power, maybe. This is effing great. Never mind the master perfumers, idiots, and the uber remarks of generic or synthetic. Aren't the perfumes all synthetic? This shit smells good, stays all day long, and has a monster projection. That's it. If you like floral scents, you're going to love this juice. Really? I don't think it didn't last very long for me. I've worn it a fair few times. Not that you can see very clearly through the bottle. You can actually see through the bottle. The bottle's just glass. It's not metal. You can see through it, but I can't. Yeah, I don't have a spotlight thingy. But then 2008, Kenzo Power. Powerless is probably a better word for it. Okay, what else is coming? Ooh, here we go. What else is coming? What else do I have in my list? You know, there's one that actually I don't have the bottle with me, but I do have a bottle of. It is CK. It's a CK fragrance. It's called CK Secret Obsession. I'll put a picture here like this. Maybe I'll do like this, and I'm holding it in my hand. Go on. We'll edit this in post. There it is. Excellent. And what is it supposed to smell like? A lot of people are saying on the review boards that it smells very similar to Féminite du Bois by Zirh Ikon. Originally, of course, Féminite du Bois was produced by Shiseido, which I have smelled both versions, neither of which are of any interest to me. I mean, it's nice. I'm not going to say it's not nice, but just not up my alley with that much plum and nutmeg. Let's see. Catnip for obsessives. Spiced rum and raisin cream. Wow. Okay. That's an interesting way of putting it. Secret Obsession was definitely a welcome surprise. What an underrated gem. At least I don't really hear about it in my circles. I know the OG Obsession quite well, and I do like it very much. But Secret Obsession smells nothing like that. I don't get the grapey, juicy plum note found in the likes of Poison here. It's more like plum liqueur. That liqueur mixed with spices and tuberose. That's actually a really good take on it. Yes, I would agree with that. Awesome. Overall, a hidden gem. It actually is a hidden gem. It's got low ratings, but I think it's a really great scent for a CK scent, especially. And the fact that it's under the radar and it's called Secret Obsession, this makes it a bit more intriguing, doesn't it? I don't think that it's still around. I'm not sure if it's still around, actually. But anyway, that was Secret Obsession by CK. What's next on the menu, sir? I'm going to rip this into shreds. Okay, it's not going to be fair. It's not a fair fight. It's not a fair fight. This is probably one of those things I did that I went, I fell for the hype. I fell for the hype. There was a fragrance that everybody loved, and it was called the fuck was that called? It was a fragrance everybody loved. It was by Mugler. It was by Thierry Mugler. It was called Ultra Zest. And people like apparently smelling like an orange creamsicle. I don't know why I bought this, but I did anyway. And so it got discontinued. And I'm like, oh my God, Ultra Zest is so expensive. But guess what? There's another fragrance, and it smells very, very similar, almost exactly similar to it. And you got to get it, and it's cheap, blah, blah, blah. And then that got discontinued, and that started to get expensive. But then magically, it appeared on shelves again, and it was still pretty cheap. It's Paco Rabanne's Ultrared Man. So Paco had done already Ultraviolet, and Ultraviolet had come out in 2001. And if you watch the 2001 video in this series, you will see me talk about that one. And this came out 2008. I don't know if it was to copy Mugler. I'm not quite sure. It's about blood orange and praline, apparently, and vanilla and patchouli and tonka bean. And the bottle is quite unique, as a lot of Paco Rabanne bottles are. Make sure it's clean, like this, all right? And look, I've used a bit of it. I've worn this a bit. There you go. There's Ultra Red Man. There was a woman's version as well. And you sort of just, it's like a stapler gun, basically. You just go like this. And I can smell it through here. It hasn't gotten better with time. It's sweet blood orange. It's sweet blood orangey, but then generic sweet, and doesn't do anything else. Like if there was some kind of zestiness to it, to make that citrus pop, to temper the sweetness that's in here, it would be much better, but it is lacking. Or I should just say, I am not a fan of sweet fragrances. Maybe I was when I was in my 20s. That's a lie. I wasn't. I don't think I've ever been a fan of sweet fragrances. I love sweets. I have a sweet tooth. Many of them with, of course, fillings because of it. But smelling like super sweet, don't know if I want to do that. Okay, let's read some of the reviews that are going on here. This is a friendly, inoffensive, and sweet. This is friendly and inoffensive and sweet. Nothing wow about it. Exactly. My perception of it is exactly the same. I am now wearing on my way to a party, and I wish I weren't. This is not really dressed to impress. Plenty of better fruity gourmands out there. Yes, there are plenty of better fruity gourmands out there now, because this review is from last month. But are you really looking to impress at a party wearing this now in 2023? I don't think you should. It's kind of dated to like late 2008. You saw 2000 and late. That's a terrible. Why do I always think of that? When I think of 2008, I'm like, I'm so 2008. You saw 2000 and late. But guess what? The next year, that was untrue. What a terrible lyric to a song. Horrible lyric to a song. This is an awesome, unique scent that should be in every collection. It's a gourmand citrus that gets a ton of compliments. It might actually get a ton of compliments. And you know what? Probably the one reprieve that it has is that it's not a blue scent. It's red. It's red instead. Maybe there'll be a whole genre of red fragrances instead of blue. Interesting. I have no idea what any of you lot are reviewing because I have a 50 ml bottle of this and I can smell nothing but a very mild citrus and a load of cheap alcohol. It's a genuine item as I've had the batch number checked too. I'm so disappointed. Most of these sort of mid-tier and cheapy sort of fragrances will have that blast of alcohol at you initially because it's not been, had the time to macerate, because they haven't put in the quality ingredients or had them blended well. It's noticeable. That's why you get that cheap blast of alcohol. Once you've experienced sort of uber quality niche parfums in parfum concentration or extrays and stuff, there's really no comparison. Once your nose has evolved to that. Unfortunately, those are all fragrances for you. And so here's the thing. Designer fragrances generally will be designed to be fragrances you wear for other people to smell. Whereas niche fragrances will be designed for you to wear so that you can smell it yourself, because other people won't be able to appreciate it like you do if you like that smell. That's a good one. That's a good way of differentiating between designer and niche. Yes. Okay, and that was Paco Rabanne's Ultra Red. Ultra Red. Commie bastards. All right, we've gone from that to this next one, which I didn't know was from 2008, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was from 2008. The next one on the list from 2008 is by Nasomatto. It is, I don't know if you can read that. It's China White. China White. Okay. China White. Unbox. Gotta love these little Nasomatto bottles. The color of the juice itself is kind of greenish. Like yow. Like that. I love that little cap too. Mad. This, oh man, really like this. Actually really like this. I only got it recently. I only got this maybe a few months ago, and I really like it. I think it's a fantastic scent. Kind of strange, but I just can't, excuse the cliche, but I just can't stop smelling myself once I spray this on. It's like an addiction. Like I said, it's a cliche. For all of you who don't understand what I'm saying, China White is also like a street name for cocaine. That's why it's called China White. And apparently, I can neither confirm nor deny that it smells like that white powder. I'm not committing that to video, and I'm not rich enough to have that habit. But man, if it smells this good, I can see why people are addicted to it. Let's read some of the reviews. It's a horrible thing to say to people who are addicted to it. For those of you who are, you're too rich for your own good. It's discontinued. Oh man. I wound up liking this far more than I thought I would. It's very simplistic without being boring. It reminds me of a drier, less sweet 1881 cheruti minus the chamomile. It does a lot better in cooler weather too. It's also got impressive longevity. 5 sprays last over 11 hours. This would be a great dumb grab for casual or formal events. I just wish it weren't discontinued. That is correct. I should have mentioned it has extremely good longevity, and it does project quite well in the opening hours. I think, yes, they are correct that it is discontinued. I'm pretty sure you can find them going on discounters that I will not mention because I got it at a steal from a particular discounter, and I guess I know why now because it was discontinued. Nasomatto is, I think, a fragrance house perfumed by a guy called Alessandro Gualtieri. All right. Alessandro Gualtieri. And he says this: China White is about the strength of fragility. I made this during a year when things were very difficult for me, a very tough year. When you feel very naked, full of fragility, the formula is extremely complex, very long. It's a perfume of many layers. Making this perfume became a kind of therapy for me. That's pretty telling because it actually is quite sort of layered. It does have this journey, but it certainly doesn't feel sad or anything like that. It is niche in many sense of the word, and I do think that you could wear it as like a signature scent because I don't see it being incompatible with any season or any weather. So I think it's pretty damn good. And don't let the small bottle fool you. It is a 30 ml extrait de parfum, and it wears quite well. And for a parfum, it projects quite well as well. So yeah, that's the second last one in the list, and that is China White by Nasomatto. All right, the next one, let's say the last one on my list here is it's the last one for a reason, because I originally bought this fragrance as a replacement for my coveted Gucci Pour Homme No. 1, which was released in 2003, which if you watch the 2003 video, it's on that list. But I bought this because that was already discontinued, and it was getting expensive and it was getting hard to find, and I needed a replacement. And according to some reviews and some reviewers that I trusted, they said that this smells eerily similar. And so I purchased a bottle of it, and it is this one here. It is Dirty English by Juicy Couture. This is Dirty English for men. Now, I finished this because I liked it, because it did actually remind me a lot of Gucci Pour Homme 1, and so I bought another one, and that finished as well. And so I bought another one, and that finished as well. And I bought another one. So I've got four bottles, and this one here. Let me put it down before I smash it. Okay, there's a couple of differences between these, and I'm going to tell you a story about these. Okay, this original bottle that I got, which I was very impressed with, and the next one had already kind of changed, but not enough to make me not want to buy a bottle. And so you can tell, maybe if it comes out on the camera, you can tell there's differences in the cap and the sticker, right? So this is the original one, right, which actually came with like a leather sort of thing around the neck with like some metal charms that used to hang off it. If you check the picture, you'll see. And the cap itself is metallic. It's kind of got a heft to it. And it's metallic, and the sticker is kind of different. And they changed it in the next bottle that I had purchased. They changed it in the next bottle I had pictured that I purchased. The cap is plastic and doesn't sort of snap into place. It just goes in like that. Like I said, the smell had kind of already changed a little bit, but it was still good enough because at $20 to smell like Gucci Pour Homme 1 or thereabouts was good enough for me, and that's what I wore. The next bottle, again the same. Sticker quality looked a little bit worse, and the cap actually isn't as good as the previous one's cap. It's still plastic, but it's a lighter plastic for some reason, and it's even a different color. It's kind of almost yellowish. And the last one, which I've still got some juice left in it because I didn't even bother finishing this one because it got bad. Like, it got bad. It got almost like to the point of, this doesn't even smell like the thing that I bought it to smell like anymore, right? So it was gone. It was finished. It was reformulated to death. And now that I know more about fragrances, there's tells to it, obviously, with the change in packaging, because there's changes in the distributors, right? So the distributors and like who's doing them or whatever are different. And the new ones all have EA Fragrances Co. as the distributor. And the old one had Juicy Couture Dist, I think, as the distributor. So Juicy was making these in-house and distributing them in-house. They sold them off, and I don't know what year that happened, but when they did it, it changed the juice for the worse, and gradually worse and worse. And I think it's discontinued now anyway, which is good, because I don't want this hanging around. And you can still buy them online. And I'm having a look now, and they're ranging between $65 to someone's trying to flog this shit for $83. I don't see a need to pay for this at all. Don't pay at all for this. There's much better alternatives. If you want to get Gucci Pour Homme 1, then you can do so, but that's like an expensive alternative. I'd probably say like Comme des Garçons Man 2 is a really good alternative, much nicer and multifaceted and layered and ends up in a different place. However, the Bentley for Men Absolute does not compare. It's not the same smell. It's actually quite different. Similar but different. Same with Papyrus Oud 71 by Parlement de Parfums. That's also, I know all of them were done by Michel Almerac. Don't tell me things I already know. Okay, cool. Next, let's read some reviews of these. First impressions: sweet citruses, leather, woody notes, not bad, but nothing memorable. Either performances on the weaker side, as others have noted. Someone else says, this is a great scent. I guess all Elvis impersonators wear this one. I read it somewhere. All the ones who have long sideburns, not the Elvis impersonators with the short pre-army sideburns. I feel bad the king wasn't around for this one. Oh, that's enough of you. What I'm going to do, given this is from 08, and I'm going to go down to probably the first review that was put on the site, which was from 2008. I just tested this fragrance yesterday for the first time. It reminds me of the original Comme des Garçons, but a lighter version. Cardamom, black pepper, cedar, sandalwood. I got it for my boyfriend. Wait, another review says, I got it for my boyfriend after reading so many reviews. This is from 2009, this review. Someone mentioned some resemblance to Gucci Pour Homme. That's the one, that's probably the review that I read, and that's why I bought it. Not really. Gucci is a classy fragrance, more gourmand, delicious, rich. Dirty English is casual in a good way. I would not say that it's overpowering, just the right potency to spray it in the morning and still smell it in the evening. It could be skin chemistry. The fragrance has a fresh note, not aquatic, but a herbal fresh. Yeah, maybe. The original one, maybe. The bottle and package of the set, black leather box with the velvet inside, are just amazing. It's easy to like and impressive to give as a present. All in all, good job. Yes, the presentation was actually pretty damn good. When you opened it up, the box had the velvet inside, and it had the metal cap, and it had the little charms going around the neck, and even the charms themselves were sort of wrapped in sort of plastic so that they wouldn't scratch the bottle, and you could actually, wear the charm on your bracelet, like you just attach it on your bracelet or on a necklace or something like that. It was pretty well presented, and the prices were still somewhat cheap. Anyway, I rant, but I shouldn't. And anyway, that is it. That's 2008, all wrapped up in a nice, neat package for you all, and me doing my thing on the video. I will be back for the next one, and for the very last one, 2009. That's going to be a banger, because I've got a fair few fragrances from that year and some big hitters that I'm sure you will like to hear me talk about, and I would love to talk about them also. So yes, and as always, thanks for watching.